Hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Hacksmarter Twitch channel. This is attempt number 2. In attempt number 1, I had some sound issues, and the reason for that, guys, I've shared this before. So my preamp, I should share a little bit about my audio, actually, to make more sense. So this microphone right here is not like your typical USB microphone. So this is more of a professional studio microphone, which means it has a general audio cord, which goes into a preamp, and the preamp is what then connects to my computer. Well, I got this audio equipment, my preamp in particular, back in Windows 7 days. So my preamp is actually only supported for Windows 7, right? And so I've been able to make it work on Windows 11, but every once in a while it just like breaks and stops working. And so I think once every 10 streams or so, I just don't have audio and I have to restart my computer is the only way I've been able to fix it. But hey guys, I got audio now. I'm excited. Let's jump into things. What we are going to do and what I was sharing with you guys is this is totally a surprise stream. Did not have this on the schedule, but had kind of a little slot of time this morning, and I wanted to keep working on my AWS pen testing skills, doing a challenge called Flaws2.Cloud, which I've never done before. I've just heard about, and I believe it's completely free, so you can do it with me. It's just in your web browser, and I figured, hey, I'm going to do it anyways. I might as well just jump on Twitch and invite people to do this with me. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Hopefully you guys can see everything okay, and we are going to pull up this challenge. So invite you to follow along. I don't even think you have to do this in Cali. I don't know what I truly do not know what this consists of. So we're gonna learn together. So I'm gonna type Flaws2.Cloud. So I do know this. There's two of them. There's this original one called Flaws2.Cloud, and there's a second one. And let's just go for the newest one. Let's do Flaws2.Cloud, and let's understand is there a dark mode? That's too bright for my early morning eyes. Oh well, it'll help wake me up. So Flaws2 brought to you by Scott Piper of Summit Route, an independent AWS security consultant. So Scott, don't know who you are, but shout out to you, man. Appreciate you for making this. So welcome to the Flaws2 challenge. Similar to the original Flaws2.Cloud, also created by Summit Route, this game/tutorial teaches you AWS security concepts. The challenges are focused on AWS-specific issues, so no buffer overflows, cross-site scripting, etc. You can play by getting hands on keyboard or just click through the hints to learn the concepts and go from one level to the next without playing. Well, we're going to play. We're going to stumble our way through this, see if we get frustrated. Let's go. Flaws2 has 2 paths this time, attacker and defender. Oh, cool. In the attacker path, we will exploit our way through misconfigurations and serverless, which is Lambda, and containers, ECS, Fargate. In the defender path, the target is now viewed as the victim, and you'll work as an incident responder for that same app, understanding how an attack happened. You'll get access to logs of a previous successful attack. As a defender, you'll learn the power of JQ, which is Python, a specific Python library, and analyzing logs and instructions on how to set up Athena in your own environment. I recommend first playing the attacker side and then going back and playing the defender side. Sweet. Choose your destiny. We will be the attacker. Just curious, for those of you hanging out with me on Twitch, have you guys ever done this before? This is my first time looking at it, but I know some people on the Rhino team have done this before, and I've done the vast majority of the Cloud Goat scenario so far, so just wanted to change it up and try this out. So, all right. Maroon said nope. All right, let's find out ourselves. Let's see if we get stuck. I guarantee you I will. At least until I understand how this works. So let's click attacker. All right, for this level, you need to enter the correct PIN code. The correct PIN is 100 digits long, so brute forcing it won't help. Okay, and then there's a hint. We don't need a hint, though. We're not going to look at the hint yet. So we just have this page, and we need to get a PIN. So there's a few things that we can do. One thing I want to do is let's go ahead and open this in Burp Suite. We'll look at the source code, and we'll look at it in Burp Suite to see, like, when we hit submit, where's the request being sent to? Is it being sent to a Lambda or something like that? Is my initial thought. So let's get Burp open and give us a shot. Yo, what up, Jay Gold? Good to have you here, my friend. Me and Jay Gold were just got pwned the other night in CS:GO. I should do like Friday night gaming, and instead of hacking, you guys can watch me be terrible at video games. That would be fun. Go to settings, user interface, display. I'm gonna change this to dark. Change it to 16 just so it's a little easier to see, and I'll just use this browser. Jago said we don't talk about that. You don't talk about Bruno. For those of you with kids, you know what that's from. All right, let's get that pulled up. Let's throw burp over here. And I'm just curious now, if I type, obviously, leet 1337, what does this response look like? Let's just send it to repeater. So we have get, we're doing a get request, default level 1, and a code, and we have a host here. So this might be what we're going to be looking at. I think this might be like an API gateway possibly. So if I hit send, we get moved permanently, and we have this Amazon request ID. So we have this. This seems interesting to me. Let's copy that, turn off proxy. What if I just go directly to this? Message forbidden. So we need to pass it some type of creds. First, I think this is an API. Is this what an API gateway looks like? Let me pull up our handy Chat GPT in my other window. Open AI, and while we do that, let's also glance at the source code for this to see if there's anything interesting. So this is a CSS. Scroll down, Flaws2.Cloud. For this level, you need to enter the correct pin code. We have JavaScript. Looks like it's making sure the code's a number, validating it. And we have our form here. So here's the form, default level 1, return valid form. So this must be where it's being hosted, because we can see default and then we can see level 1. So what if I just go to that? So then that just gives us an internal server error. Okay. And we have hint 1, and then we have JavaScript. Okay. So the only thing that we have AWS specific here is what I believe is an API gateway. And let's just verify that we're human, apparently. Why do I have to tell the robot that I'm human? Maybe the robot needs to verify that he's human. Know what I'm saying? And we'll say, hi, robot friend. If I can spell. Got to be nice to the robots for when they take over. Let's throw this over to one half of the screen. So for those of you who aren't sure what an API gateway is, let me just use this for a time of education for all of us. So an API gateway is a fully managed service that makes it easy for developers to create, publish, maintain, monitor, and secure APIs at any scale. It provides a front door for HTTP requests to access back-end services like Lambda functions, EC2, or containerized services. The URL you provided looks like the default URL structure for an API gateway endpoints in AWS. However, okay, so that's what I figured. So what it's doing is it's providing that front door for our HTTP request, which is that code that we're entering to access back-end services like Lambda functions, EC2 instances, or containerized stuff. So here it is right here. If we do this, so we're getting moved permanently because it's incorrect. So what if we change it? I mean, what if I change the host to just something else? Then we get bad request. Okay, is it vulnerable to like server-side request forgery, do you think? Yeah, we can follow redirection. So the redirection is taking us, so then we're getting the incorrect. We have the Amazon ID. Flaws, that's just the page saying invalid, I think. Let's check it. Yeah, so it just redirects us back to this page. Is there anything different on this page? I don't think so. This is just the same page we're on. So we need to somehow abuse this API gateway. So if we look at this, we have this. What if we change our verbiage to like a post? Does that do anything? No. How about options? So no matter what, it's redirecting us. Okay, so if we do example of SSRF in AWS. It's like 169. What do you mean? Dang robot. What do you mean one message at a time? We're experiencing. Okay, which one of you guys is breaking ChatGPT? I can't function, obviously, without ChatGPT. Fine. we're going to do it old school way. I'm just trying to remember the IP. I always forget it. Yeah. I wonder if we can abuse SSRF somehow. So like if we type this in. No, we get forbidden. Okay. No luck there. Okay. Let's just think back to what we have so far. So we have what appears to be an API gateway. This guy right here. And we need to get a pin from this API gateway. So we somehow need to cause it to make a request. I'm trying to think of a few ways that we could do this. And it may be for this first level, I just need to look at the hint to understand exactly how this infrastructure is set up. But I'm assuming this is what we need to enumerate. So if we look at this Hacking the Cloud, this is a great website. And let's look at enumeration. Enumerate AWS account ID. Let's see, unauthenticated, get account, load. I don't know if any of this helps us. We could try this. So that's what I was trying to do, the metadata service with SSRF. We have unauthenticated. Can we do this? You can enumerate AWS account IDs, blah, blah, and gain insights by abusing resource-based policies, even in accounts for which you have no access. QuietRiot offers a scalable method for enumerating each of these items with configurable word list per item type. Furthermore, it also allows you to enumerate Azure, Active Directory, and Google Workspace valid email addresses, blah, blah, if you want to perform these things at scale. And I bet it's something easier. I'm sure I'm overthinking it. It's the first level. Okay, we're going to look at the hint. What am I overthinking? The input validation is only done by the JavaScript. Get around it and pass a pin code that isn't a number. Oh, we just have to intercept the request? The input validation is only done by the JavaScript. Get around it and pass a pin that isn't a number. I think I understand what it's saying. So this isn't really AWS specific, but okay. So, let me pull this up. So what it's saying is it's only checked client side. So if we intercept it, we might be able to edit it. So if we change this to Tyler, and there we go. We're getting information here. So you can see we have malform input. So we're getting a verbose error message, and we have some information here. We have the metadata endpoint here. We have a session token here. Did I see an access key or anything? No. So we have a session token right here. We have the default region. We have the secret access key here. Okay. So here's where I don't actually know how this works. Do I need to actually set up a user now with these keys? You guys know what I mean? Like, maybe you don't know what I mean. So if we go to home, Tyler, AWS Pentesting, make directory, Flaws2.Cloud. If I do AWS configure profile and call it like flaws, we'll just call it flaws1. It'll ask me for the access key ID, which we have the secret access key right there. We have the secret ID there. It's a Lambda function that is doing this. And then we have a session token. So actually for the session token, we'd have to store it in our AWS creds file because that's the only place that you can store a session token. I'm not going to do that yet. I'm not sure if that's what we're supposed to do or like the level's done. Did it tell us the end goal? Hold up. Let's go back to Firefox. Like, what's level 2, basically? Oh, So maybe to get to level 2, we have to then set these things up. Okay. I'm guessing that might be how it is. So if I pull this back up, we're just going to I'll just copy all this information down, and we'll store it in some quick notes. And here's where I'll pull the information from. So we have our session token right here. Just clean this up a little bit. All right, so there's our session token, and we have the secret access key right here. And basically, we need to set up a profile now on our Linux machine here with this information as a profile, and then we'll enumerate or maybe run this Lambda function, like invoke this Lambda function is what I'm thinking in my head. So, okay, access key ID, where's the secret? I'm just missing it. I know I saw it earlier. You guys are probably like yelling at your screen like, Tyler, it's right there, bruh. Secret access key. Default region is US East 1. Access key ID. Oh, is that what I need? Yeah, access key ID. I lost it again. Here it is. Come on, scroll, scroll, scroll. Okay, that's all the information I need, and the place that we have to do that is actually in our AWS creds file, so I need to stop sharing my screen just momentarily, guys, because I'm not sure what creds are all stored in there. So y'all just have to look at my face for a little bit. The place this is stored is, you know, like SSH, where it's your home folder and then .ssh. It's the same with AWS. Once you get it installed, it's just .aws. And there is a file called credentials. And in that credential file, you can store the session token. If I can remember the syntax for it, it doesn't look like I have one in here yet for that. I just have one for some of my other accounts. So mousepad, credentials. And I'll just call this one. I'm going to call it Vault 1. Or not Vault 1. Flaws 1. And we'll do AWS access key ID. And I'm going to drop that access key ID that you guys saw before. And if you're following along, I encourage you to do this yourself. Otherwise, if you don't know how to do this, that's okay. I have other videos on my YouTube channel where I walk through this specific process that I'm doing now. AWS secret access key. Grab that next. And then we need our AWS session token. AWS. Okay. Wonder if that'll work. All right, I'll go back to share my screen with you guys, and we'll see if that worked. Otherwise, I may have messed something up in my syntax. So here we go. Now, what we're going to do now is kind of like, who am I? Do some enumeration. I do notice right here that we are running a Lambda function. So it may be the end goal is we need to execute this Lambda maybe. Let me pull up OneNote. And actually, I need to stop sharing my screen again. I had this already, guys, before I had to restart my computer. But then, of course, I restarted my computer, did the sound issue. So I just have to do some of this initial setup. Okay, cool. There's nothing there. I just have two OneNotes, one for work and one for my personal use. I want to make sure my personal use one pulled up. And it did. So here's kind of a sneak peek at a new Cloud Goat scenario coming out. That's secret, though. You guys will learn more about that later. If I go to, we have Lambda enumeration. We can do this. This is kind of like a who am I, the get caller identity. So if we grab this command, drop it in here, and we're just going to change our profile to the one I just created, which I called Flaws 1, I think is what I called it. So it worked. Okay, cool. So we have this role successfully. So we assume this role. We have our user ID. We have our account number. So that's the AWS account. Here's our ARN. That's like our unique identifier. And I think we may have to enumerate the Lambda function because I noticed Lambda is running. And you can see here's the command to list our Lambda function. So I'm going to copy that from my notes. Since ChatGPT is apparently broken right now, I'll use my notes like I'm living in the 80s. Flaws1. I think that all looks good. Oh, so we are not authorized to perform Lambda links functions on resource because no identity-based policy allows the Lambda list function. So maybe we have to do the specific Lambda. So we saw that on here. Lambda log stream, Lambda task root, Lambda function name level 1. That's just the name of the function. Does it have a more verbose name, or is it really just called level 1? Lambda log group name, AWS Lambda level 1, handler, our environment that we're executing in, our path. Okay, so maybe it is just called level 1 right there. So if we pull up our notes, I think there's a way to enumerate a specific policy. Yeah, so if we grab this one right here, and we'll just pull this up. So our assumed role is our flaws1 that we just set up. And US East 1, yep, Lambda get function name level 1. An error occurred. So we are not authorized to perform Lambda get function on this resource because no identity-based policy allows a Lambda get function action. I'm just going to try to invoke the function then. Invoke means run it. And so I think I have the syntax here from a Cloud Goat scenario, which, guys, take notes because when ChatGPT goes down, you got to rely on your own notes. AWS Lambda invoke. So we're going to call this level 1, and we'll call out.text is fine, honestly, and we'll say our profile is flaws1. And let's see if this works. Okay. Region US East 1. Dang it. So we're not authorized to perform that. Okay, so we have this user. Unless this isn't just bypassing, like, hopefully I'm not doing more work than you need to. Like, is this the end of level 1? Is just this? I don't know. I guess let's keep messing with it. So we could do some, if we do enumeration, we can list our roles, see if our user has any roles. Maybe we need to abuse roles somehow. Possibly. Profile flaws1. Copy that. Okay, so he doesn't have any roles. Do I have Paku on this machine? No, I don't. Could install Paku and do who am I. But I think we might be overthinking it since it's just level 1. So we've tried. Is there something in here I missed? If you guys see something on here, please let me know in the chat. I see these different ports, like this port 2000, the metadata. We have this log stream name. I might have to see the next hint. If you looked in your browser console, you should have seen the form submitting a request to that. So change the parameter to the following to see the error message that the server gives, which we already know that, right? This is the error message we already saw. Right, so we already got that error message, but what do we do now? You should see the environmental variables in the crash. While there, you should see variables for access key ID, secret access key session token. You can configure your terminal. Okay, we did that. Oh, use those to try to find the next level. Okay, so we need to actually find the next level with. So we've taken over this account. We need to just enumerate to find the next level. So what else can we enumerate? Maybe S3 buckets or something. So if we go to bucket enumeration, we can see if our user has access to any buckets. Profile name is Flaws1. Okay, so that's not the way. What else enumeration can we do? So we have policy enumeration. Get specific policies. Lambda enumeration, we already tried that. Bucket enumeration, we can't list any buckets. We can try EC2 enumeration. Otherwise, it might be a policy, and we'll go back to policies. So vault or Flaws1 and region, US East 1. Okay, so that's not how we get to the next level. Load balancer enumeration. I don't think it's going to be that. Maybe it's policy enumeration. So first we have to run this again. We'll say Flaws1. Maybe we have to assume a role. Okay, let's go back to our notes. And if we go to policy enumeration, so get the policies attached to a user, AWS profile user, our region, list user policies, username, and then it's your username, which I think the username is the full ARN. I don't remember if that's what it is or not. So our user is, of course, our Flaws1. Username. I think this might be our username. We'll just do each one until it works. Must only contain alphanumeric characters and or the following. Is our username just level 1? Oh. That is our username, but we're not authorized to perform this function. How the heck do I get to level 2? What the heck? What else do I need to enumerate? Bro, we enumerate the policies, get policies attached to the user. So that's a list user policies. Do I need a list attached user policies? Let's find out. And I usually try to make this point known first, guys. I am not an AWS pentester or an AWS expert. I am a AWS noob learner who just jumps on Twitch and stumbles through this stuff. So, like, if you're like, man, doesn't this guy know his stuff? No, I don't. That's why I'm doing this, to learn. Okay, so not that either. We're not authorized. What the heck are we authorized to do, yo? We could. Let's install Paku, right? Paku might have some stuff that will help us. So for those of you who don't know what Paku is kind of like Metasploit for the cloud. So Paku is an open source AWS exploitation framework designed for offensive security testing against cloud environments. Created and maintained by Rhino Security Labs, best pen testing company I've ever heard of in my life. Paku allows pen testers to exploit configuration flaws within an AWS account using modules to easily expand its functionality. Current modules enable a range of attacks, including user priv, backdooring, attacking vulnerable Lambda functions, and much more. Now, I honestly haven't used Paku a whole lot, but we'll give it a shot. So pip3 install, actually sudo, let's sudo that beast. Sudo pip3 install dash Paku. And maybe Paku can come in clutch for us. And in the meantime, guys, I'm going to, you guys just can look at my face for a second. I forgot I didn't get some other things pulled up when my computer initially turned on. Okay, there we go. Just want to get Slack pulled up. Share my screen again. Okay, let's run Paku. What would we like to name this session? Let's call it Flaws 1. And, we're going to, actually, let's just start this over. There. We'll choose Flaws 1. And now we need to import keys. So you guys can see that here. Import AWS keys from AWS CLI creds. So that's what we want to do. So let's import keys. And it was Flaws 1 is what we called our keys. Now we should be able to run something like who am I? And we see some information here. So we have our access key ID, our secret access key, and our session token, our key alias imported Flaws 1. Permission confirmed. Now here is where I need to do some reading on Paku, and I believe we have a wiki page. And if we look at maybe quick start guide, so that's just downloading Paku, set AWS keys, running modules. I'm just trying to think of what we should run. Like we can search, I think, enum. Here's all the different ways we can enum. Didn't they mention ECSs? Let's run ECS enum. And we'll do, can I type it there? Oh no, so run ECS enum region, US East 1. Access denied. What the heck can I do? Search enum API gateway enum. We could try that. So let's try that. So we'll run API, what was it? API gateway is all one word. Gateway enum region US East 1. Bro, I don't have permissions to do anything. How am I supposed to get to level 2? What do I get? What am I missing? I mean, let's look. I don't think we have any permissions. Let's look at our permissions, shall we? So run IAM enum permissions region US East 1. Oh, okay. We don't have any permissions. How do I get to the next level? All right, guys, we got to look at the hint. I don't understand what I am missing. So, yeah, we added those. Next hint. There's an S3 bucket? No, there's not. As you saw, it's possible to determine when a site is running out of an S3 bucket. The IAM role you got access to gives you the ability to list the contents of the... No, it doesn't. Bro, how come I couldn't list the S3 bucket? We tried that. You guys remember when I tried it? I checked the S3 buckets. You guys, for those of you watching, you saw me try to list the S3 buckets that told me permission denied. You know, I have the role, like everything went in. Search. Missing AWS permissions. I can't do your bucket thing, y'all. Or maybe I just can't list them. As you saw in the original Flaws2.Cloud, it's possible to determine when a site is running out of an S3 bucket. The IAM role you got access to gives you the ability to list the contents of... So maybe we can only list the contents of that bucket? Is that what it is? Oh, shoot. It is only that bucket. So within Paku, you can run general AWS commands as well. So we can only list the ones in that bucket. Now, let's back up a little bit. You'll find a secret telling you to go to level 2. Not that it matters. You wouldn't be able to find it anyway, but there's the correct pin. It's possible to determine when a site is running out of an S3 bucket. Is it just in the source that you see that? As you saw in the original Flaws2.Cloud, it is possible. How? Is ChatGPT alive yet? Can y'all get off ChatGPT so I can ask some questions? I'd appreciate it. I'm gonna take that as a no. All right. How to tell if a website is running out of an S3 bucket. Ooh, okay. Jay Gold says his ChatGPT is working. You scrub. You took all the ChatGPT juice. Maybe it was in our burp stuff. I mean, we could see when we were throwing requests to it. It was obviously doing Amazon. I'm just not sure how to tell, like, it's an S3 bucket. So, like, if we change this to A, we, of course, get this response. Maybe it was in this response. Let's see if I missed it here. We have region, access key ID, session token, log stream name, region, lambda, path. So the problem with what I was trying to do, guys, is I was just trying to list all S3 buckets. And my user doesn't have permission to list all S3 buckets. He just had permission to list that specific bucket, which is what threw me off. So what I'm trying to answer is, like, how would I have identified that bucket? I mean, I could have guessed because the bucket was just called, like, level 1 cloud, but I don't understand. Level 1.flaws2.cloud. Was there a hint on how we're supposed to know that? It said, as you saw in the original Flaws2.Cloud. Too many tabs open. Hi, when configure S3 buckets, it's possible to change the URL. It's possible to change URL if you have registered domain. It's not possible to change the URL. You may be checked whether a website is served by S3, but you can't. It's not possible to definitely detect if a website is hosted on S3 outside the times that you can see the S3 URL. Well, what is dude referring to? So EC2, I understand we can tell if it's an EC2, but how do you tell if it's being hosted on S3 bucket? What if we do Flaws2.Cloud S3 bucket? Check. This is the original Flaws2.Cloud, so I don't think, right? Dead giveaway for S3 buckets and static websites can be hosted on S3. Oh, we're just doing NS lookup on it? Here, let's try that. I don't even have our original URL. Level 1 Flaws2.Cloud. What the heck? I got something in my eye, y'all. So we'll just follow these steps and see if we can do it. So if we do ns lookup, gosh. Can I copy? Whatever. So that is an AWS IP, but that could be an EC2 as well, right? So start by getting some info on the bucket. Since we're dealing with the domain here, so at the NS lookup, this shows us information about the domain, but not everything we need. Let's enumerate further using the IP. Okay, so we're doing some DNS stuff. And we'll use any of these IPs. Okay. There it is, guys. S3 website, US East 1. Dig gives us a verbose result, blah, blah. X does a reverse lookup, must be paired with an IP address. Results show that this is an S3 website hosted in US West 1. So that's how we know it. Okay. I'm gonna add this whole thing actually to my notes. So we're gonna copy that, pull up our notes, and maybe in bucket enumeration, I'll say how to check if a website is hosted on an S3 bucket. And you know what? I'll actually take this guy's notes. He did a better job than me. He explained all of it here. So we'll just copy his stuff. No, copy. And drop that in our notes. Drop that in our notes. Okay, drop that in our notes. Thank you. I need to turn my phone on silent. People texting me. There. Okay, cool. So next time we have that question, we have that as a takeaway. So that's what we learned from level 1. Up to that point, everything kind of made sense to me, but what we learned from level 1 is we can do this process to enumerate, hey, is this being hosted in an S3 bucket? And if it is, we can go ahead and enumerate that S3 bucket to get more information here. So in this S3 bucket, we have this secret.html, and what we can do with that, can actually exit out of here for now. We can do AWS S3 sync, if my memory serves me correct, level1.flaws2.cloud, and then we will grab this file right there, and we'll do profile, profile flaws1 like that. Oh, we need to specify the path though. We'll just save it to this path. ls. Okay, that didn't work. Do I have something wrong with my syntax? Pretty sure that's how you sync it. Enumerate a specific bucket and then sync. Yeah, that's what I did. Oh no. Right, so that's the bucket. The website's being hosted in the bucket, and I went and tried to grab that file. What do you say in the hint? You'll find a secret telling you to go to that. Yeah, how do I get the secret? I should just be able to sync it. It's not giving me any errors or anything. How am I supposed to sync it? Maybe let's try Paco again. 1, search S3, and if we do S3 download bucket help, okay, names only. If specified, automatically download all files from the buckets that are allowed instead of asking for each one. If specified, only pull the names of files and the buckets instead of downloading. This option will store the file names in a text, a path to a file that includes the only files to be downloaded, 1 per line. The format for these files must be file name at bucket name. Okay. So what if I do it this way? If I run and then we go to our file name. Oh, shoot. Come on. So here's both. Here's the bucket. Here's the file. What? Not open link. So it would be file name first. So level 1.flaws2.cloud. Oh, we got to call it names only. Am I just supposed to browse to it or something? Since it's just HTML. Oh my goodness, that's all it is. You don't actually download the bucket. That's silly. Oh, hey, what up, overgrown carrot? Thanks for having me here, my friend. We're stumbling our way through some AWS stuff. Okay, so that's all it was. That part's a little bit silly to me, but I'm also not that great at AWS. Usually in AWS, when you discover an S3 bucket, you download the files or the secrets from the S3 bucket. So like in CloudGoat, there is a scenario in CloudGoat where you steal some sensitive credit card information, and you do that by finding an S3 bucket, identifying where the credit card information is, and then syncing it locally to your machine, and you have all the credit card data locally. Whereas this, you're just supposed to browse to it, which I guess makes sense because the S3 bucket, the website is being hosted on an S3 bucket. So if you think about some traditional CTFs, you have FTP servers that do this same thing. So I know there's some machines on Hack the Box where the way to compromise them is you find an FTP server that is being used to host a website. And from that FTP server, you can then upload like a PHP shell that also gets hosted on the website, and then you get a reverse shell to the machine, and you check when there's an FTP server open, hey, can I edit this? Can I access this? Can I look for secrets in that way? This is similar, but we know that this website was being hosted in an S3 bucket, and we saw, hey, in this S3 bucket, there's this .html, there's this page, which would be a directory for this website. We go to this directory, and then we make it to level 2. So that actually does make sense now that I share it out loud and talk about it. Let's close some of this out. Just too many things open, too many tabs open. So here is our next level. And I'm going to go ahead and copy this link, and we'll just drop it in our notes here. We'll start a new page, and we'll call this Flaws. Whoops. I should have been taking notes, but oh well. I'll just take some notes in this main page here. So we at least have the link to level 2, and we can start level 2 now. So let's click that. Okay. Beautiful. This is... we're at about 50 minutes. I have a little bit more time I can hang out with you guys. But because we're starting level 2, this is a good time, I think, for a 5-minute break. So let's go ahead and take a 5-minute break, and I'll be back in 5 minutes.